All right, welcome to Lights Camera Barstool, the week of June 23rd. Today we're doing a review of 28 Years Later, a movie I think that we've been looking forward to for quite a bit. And not to spoil
Boots, boots.
motherfucking boots, dude. We'll talk about that specific scene too, I'm sure. And a movie that I don't think disappointed us really at all, but again, get more into it.
Which Kenjac, I gotta say, is absolutely insane. Just considering that trailer. I mean, like that is one of the all-time great trailers. I won't say in the back of my head I was prepared to be let down, but there was a little piece of me where I was like, I'm gonna get burned by this. Like this
Yeah.
is gonna let me down tremendously. This is 2013 Suicide Squad all over again.
Yeah, we
Um,
have been victim to a lot of terrible
yeah, but
movies put
that
on
that
by
is
awesome trailers. But
yeah, this lived up to the hype. I can't wait to talk about it. A very fun movie to talk about. I've been talking about it with like everyone who's seen it.
yeah, a lot to talk about too. It kind of reminds me of ironic, I guess. I feel like there's more good conversation to come out of this than I think came out of Civil War, which is what Paul
Oh,
I think wanted. He wanted people talking about it that way, and no one talked about it that way. And I think everyone's talking about this in a way that he probably wishes happened in Civil
yes.
War.
The
Uh,
last two Garland movies have been just miserable to talk about with anyone.
yeah, warfare is not fun to talk about. That's true. That's true. I was gonna
No,
say
no.
good,
I
much better
liked
movie
it.
than Civil War, but still. I would say Warfare was a much better movie than Civil
We'll
War.
get to our rankings here later too. We're gonna do that
Yes.
after the
So
draft.
we're gonna do a combined rankings of the combined Danny Boyle and Alex Garland filmography, which we will get to after our review of 28 Years Later. Before all that, let's talk about some news. First up, Owen Wilson is now joining in to Meet the Parents 4, which has the original crew and plus Ariana Grande, who will be playing, I believe, the fiance of Ben Stiller's kid in it.
Hmm.
Cool. I think that Owen Wilson was one of the funniest parts of the Meet the Parents sort of trilogy. He was like that character.
Jesus.
What?
He was Jesus. He was a
Yeah, yeah,
carpenter.
yeah. He was literally the carpenter. He built the was it the Mezuzah? Not the Mezuzah. What the fuck that thing's? What's that thing called? Where
It
like
was like a gazebo. It
yeah, but there's a
was
fancy term for it, like the wedding
yeah.
cake for it. I forget what it is. But he was one of the funnier parts. That character appeared a lot in those early 2000s rom-coms.
Hmm.
Like he was like the Bradley Cooper inverse chaotic
Hmm.
good of that evil from Wedding Crashers and all that. But yeah, I think this is good. Owen Wilson's funny. I mean, we'll talk about briefly later. But he's been really good in Stick. And like I kind of like him getting this little resurgence a little bit later on because he was like top of the world level comedy guy, sort of just disappeared, and now he's making a comeback, and I love that. I really enjoy him.
Yeah, really talented person, which I don't know why I forgot that about him, but I did. Like I forgot that he's not just a like comedy actor, but he's a writer too. Like he is very, I mean, in tune with all levels of filmmaking. So like getting someone like him back, he must have some level of respect. Or it could just be like Ben Stiller called him up and said, "Hey, come." But I think it is interesting that that whole cast, you think dumb, raunchy. I'm sorry if you hear the police sirens outside, by the way. But you think of Meet the Parents, you're like dumb, raunchy 2000s comedy, and then you kind of take a step back and you're like, oh, Robert De Niro. I mean, Ben Stiller, who's become, I mean, not only a comedic mastermind, but he's making one of the best drama series on television. Owen Wilson, I mean, frequent Wes Anderson collaborator in terms
Yeah.
of writing, and he's now got a really great television show, I think. A really great series and Stick going. So these are guys that are really talented, and coming back to this 25 years later does give me a little bit more pop than I think originally when I saw that first headline. Like now that I've had time to sit with it and think about it, I'm like, okay, I see what they're thinking here. Like this
Yeah.
could be really good.
Yeah, and it's not like this is some vaulted like hold in super high regard franchise or
Mhm.
something where it's like how
Yeah,
dare you
exactly.
come touching it. No, this is perfect. This is perfect for a
I mean,
late stage sequel.
one of the leading jokes is that his name is gay.
I was gonna say is that or the cat pooping in the toilet. Like it's like that's
Yeah.
the two biggest jokes in the thing. His name is Gaylord. You got the first trailer for Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. It's from Scott Cooper, who did Crazy Heart, which in my opinion one of the best just music movies the last like what was that 2009, like 2 decades or so.
Yep.
It stars Jeremy Allen White as Springsteen, also Jeremy Strong. Two Jeremys. I didn't really put that together in my head. This is a doubled up Jeremy movie.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
which, by the way, Jeremy Allen White, not a Jeremy. Jeremy Strong, definitely a Jeremy. You know what I mean? You know, some people just don't look like their name.
I could get that.
He's just
I could
not a
get that.
Jeremy. Like to in my head, like for example, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not a Tom. You look at that face, that man is not Tom.
He's Tommy. That's what his friends call him. That's
No,
what
I don't
Dave
think
calls him.
his name shouldn't have been Tommy. It should have been like fucking Brad or whatever. It shouldn't, but he's just not a Tom. You know what I mean? It just
That's
doesn't
fair.
fit. The fact that him
That's
and
fair.
Tommy Smokes have the same name, like that's not some names just fit this certain types.
Everybody has Smokes' name now. Smokes no longer has the Smokes name.
That's true. Yeah.
There's
Uh,
three other people at the company now that have it before him.
Dude, how do you think I felt? I was the only Jack I ever knew growing up, and now at Barstool, there's Jack Mack, another Jack Mack. There's like
Uh,
trillion of us.
you want to talk about I mean, we lost Youngstown Bob, but there's still a million Roberts Bobs. Like they're all taken.
A lot of Bobs. Oh, and in addition to that, in the cast, Paul Walter Hauser and Stephen Graham, who we
Hmm.
love Stephen Graham, and he's been getting a lot of shine lately because of that English show everyone goes crazy for. I still haven't seen it.
Is he in Mobland?
Yes, but that's very good.
Yeah.
Not that, but the it like what is Adolescence? I think is the series.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet either.
Yeah, and our good boy Paul Walter we've interviewed multiple times. The trailer I think was in parts good, in parts I didn't love. Like the production value I think was great. Like that
Hmm.
immersed you right into that period of was I believe this is all about him writing Nebraska. Uh,
Yep.
Immerses you straight in there. I think at first I didn't totally see Jeremy Allen White as Springsteen, like just visually. I'm like, I don't know how necessarily that fits. I think he's got it. The
Hmm.
singing in points, I'm like, oh wow, how he got there? Like he got there in some of the song, and then another part hit
Yeah.
the song, and I'm like, oh, maybe not totally. But so it's a little bit up and down. I think so. One of the things I noticed in some of the reaction to the trailer in general is like there's sort of like a musical biopic like fatigue a little bit. People are kind of like, all right, we need to take like a moratorium a bit on these. But overall, I like Scott Cooper. I like this whole cast. I don't see why I shouldn't be rooting for this to be an amazing movie. And Springsteen in general, like for a guy who's kind of an icon in the music industry, for it to take this long for him to get like a true biopic is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Are you a big Springsteen guy at
Definitely,
all?
I would never call myself like a big Springsteen guy, and not out of like oh I listen to his music and I hate it. I'm just not well versed enough in it. Like all of his music when it comes on, I'm not changing it. I like
Hmm.
fucking Born to Run, all of it, like or whatever, all that stuff. I like it when it's on. I'm just definitely not well versed enough in it.
Yeah, I think I'm the same exact way. Like his music, but there's obviously way bigger fans in our sphere for sure.
For sure,
For
Kirk is like
sure. Like the like yeah, Kirk's a massive one. I think like most sports journalists like over the age of like
yeah.
40 are just in love with him. So you're right. It's kind of crazy. We're just now getting his biopic. Which is like yeah, this is the millionth music biopic in the past 10 years, it feels like. But it also feels like people have been saying since as long as I can remember that we need less of these. And then they come out and they always end up making so much fucking money. So people are
Mhm.
seeing them. Like that's the thing. People are going to see them still. I've kind of thrown my hands up on this. I was the same boat as like the complainers for the longest time. Like we just need less. I love Walk Hard, and I thought that kind of put an end to the genre. Like people should have just kind of stopped after that. I've come around. I've come back around. I'll be honest, like I'm just like these aren't award winners. I don't think these should be up for awards the way that they are year in and year out, but they are very enjoyable in that I go in knowing kind of the beats to expect. I'll maybe learn a little bit of stuff that I didn't know about an artist that, I like, and I'll get to hear some good music along the way
And see a CGI chimp if you're lucky. The
which I think this will deliver on. Like you said, Scott Cooper, a good filmmaker. Like
yeah.
this looks good. I think Jeremy Allen White, like in the trailer, kind of it's the same thing with this thing. Like at certain points, it sounds unbelievable. Like how did he pull it off? And then other points, you're like, that doesn't sound all that great. It's the same way with the way he looks. Those brown contacts in some shots look unnoticeable, and you're like, that is a young Bruce Springsteen. And then other shots, you're like, holy shit, that's horrifying.
Mm.
That's horrifying to look at.
Yeah. I think it's like not a difficult voice to get to either. But here's the thing. I will
Really?
give a million times more credit to this attempt of actually singing the person's voice versus dubbing it over. I will never ever give that
Yeah.
respect ever. Even in go back to Bohemian Rhapsody, fucking all the credit in the world to Rami Malek for the acting jobs he had to do, but I
Mhm.
not getting any credit for me for lip syncing. That's just never gonna happen. Or whatever the AI voice match bullshit. I will say that in sort of like what you're talking about, I think that there was. not like irreparable damage to that sort of genre, but the Bohemian Rhapsody thing being up for every single award and
Yeah.
being a pretty sloppy mess really put some damage on it. But then like the next year, Rocket Man comes out and Rocket Man was awesome. And I think Rocket Man
Hmm.
did a good job of like making it entertainment in addition to giving you the biographical material you want. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the sequences where they're doing like the music videos where it's like this super imaginative, creative sequence doing crazy, crazy shit. Like that, I think is a great sort of boiler plate for whatever a musical biopic should be. Like sometimes you got to be super serious, right? And they had and
Hmm.
Rocketman had that, but you could be imaginative and like get into the person's brain. Maybe not do the CGI monkey, but like do something cool based on reality, and you could do some cool shit. But again, it's Springsteen. He's an American icon. He's I think the first thing old thing I really watched him do stuff with. They did that series or their documentary on the Band-Aid not Band-Aid. We Are the World, the Christmas song.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it was that was really cool, by the way. Really good documentary. I think it was on Netflix. Where like all the biggest stars of whatever year that was were like all in one room, and you just see like Springsteen talking to like Ray Charles. Like it's just fucking crazy to watch. But yeah, I mean, praying for this to be good. I think we're all on the same team there.
Yeah. This comes out when?
Believe it is. I'll double check. Uh,
Gotta be like the fall, something like that. Or like November.
I looked up Road to Nowhere release date and it said 1985, and that is because it is the Talking Heads album that I'm looking because I wrote Road to Nowhere, not Deliver Me from Nowhere. October 24th, yeah, 2025. Okay, so that is Springsteen Delivery from Nowhere, which by the way, one thing about Springsteen, I always, always first glance spell his name wrong. Always, every single time. Without the two E's, I always do IEN instead of EEN, which is something I
Oh yeah.
consistently fuck up, which is bad. Elio had the worst Pixar opening ever, $21 million. Not great. Not a movie I'm dying to go see, to be completely honest with you. Most of the people I know that have seen it have been like, yeah, it's fine. It's a good movie. Like, you're not terrible. But no one's like, rushing it. They're like, oh my God, you gotta go see this. Pixar has done it again. Holy shit, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side, How to Train Your Dragon live action opened with $350 million, which is on track now to make it the highest grossing movie in the entire franchise, including the animated ones. Uh, which I don't like that. I prefer this. That's a bad thing. You know what's weird is it's good and bad, right? Like it's good for movies to be doing well. Love that.
Yeah.
This is now going to inspire studios to look at that and be like, oh, well, now we just got to keep doing this. When 90% of the results are bad, and this is like the 10% that are going to do well. So it's good and bad here.
Yeah. Just like good is like, by the way, back to the Elio thing, like that reaction you were speaking to, like feels like the reaction to every Pixar movie released in the last 10 years. Like
Yeah,
there is a general, like I think the people at Pixar need to start hitting the panic button on what they're doing. It's just as simple as that. Like they can continue to make these, like they are good, I guess, but they just feel so uninspired. The animation style is like stagnating and becoming uglier, I think.
I agree.
Like extremely ugly. And you look across the pond at someone like Studio Ghibli, who, they'll continue to take risk, changing their animation styles and doing different things. And I think that's really where Pixar needs to head. Or else someone like Sony Animation is coming up and they're kind of taking the mantle and doing interesting things. Yeah, no, Pixar, it needs a complete overhaul, is what it feels like.
Mhm.
It's not like a disaster mode where they're making dog shit, but it's just the Pixar we grew up with is past us, I think.
Let's see
And
what.
then the live action, How to Train Your Dragon. That's shocking, to be honest, because the first three animated films are great. I mean, fantastic. They're DreamWorks, so they probably didn't get the extreme marketing Disney push that a lot of other animated films get, but so good, so good. I'm shocked that the third one didn't make a billion, just based on the fandom.
So just going back, by the way, on the Pixar last decade of releases. Inside Out 2, which is solid, like we were saying, like
Yeah,
that's like the best you can say about most of these. Elemental, solid. Lightyear,
yeah,
I wouldn't say particularly great. I would say actually in their lower half of movies.
yeah.
Turning Red, which I liked because that was probably the most different they got out of all these, like as far as doing something
Hmm.
slightly away from regular. Luca was whatever. Soul was a cool idea for not a Pixar movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just too adult for what they're you're used to doing. Onward was nothing. Toy Story again, like fine. It's just
Yeah.
did nothing special. Incredibles 2, liked Incredibles 2. I'm a big Incredibles 1 super stan.
Yeah.
Does Don
Like you're
Knopfler
never like you if you're gonna watch The Incredibles, you're gonna go back
Incredibles.
and watch the first one.
And then I think the last one they have that was truly great was Coco, 2017.
Yeah, that was in the back of my head, kind of like where when did I was thinking
That's
2015
the
in my
leaping
head.
off point. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the last one that was like truly old school Pixar. This is a great story, inventive,
Great
emotionally
music.
touching,
Great.
animation, fantastic, like created a very cool world. Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Yeah,
So yeah, hopefully they get back to that. I don't think it's out of the question that they can. The brand name is clearly still there.
for
Like,
sure. John Bernthal is going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Apparently, Hulk will also be involved. They also confirmed that I believe it's Jacob Balaton and Zendaya are both going to be coming back as well, which is like a no-brainer. Um, Punisher in Spider-Man. The jokes were great. All the jokes
oh
on
yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, whatever, were all very funny. It's just like Spider-Man's like, "Well, don't do that again, Mister," and then it's just Punisher like very funny. The mixture of those two is very interesting, and they also just filmed together in Odyssey or in the Odyssey as well.
Oh
Bernthal
yeah.
and Tom Holland. So, and they were in that movie. Fuck, what was it? They were in a movie where they were like missionaries together. Shit, what was that one called?
Oh, the James Gray movie.
I think so. Yeah, where he has like the big tattoo
Um,
on his back or something.
Fuck.
You know what I'm
Lost
talking
City
about?
of Z?
No, no,
No,
no,
that's
no,
a
no,
different
no.
movie. Fuck. What is it?
Do you know? It might just be like the pilgrimage or something.
The Sacrifice?
Is that what it's called?
Is it the one where Tom Holland's like 10?
No, that's like the tsunami one, I think. What the fuck is that? The pilgrimage. Pilgrimage. Yep. He is like 10 in it. It's 2017.
Oh,
So
I was thinking The Lost City of Z, the James Gray movie.
yeah, Richard Armitage in that too. Where's he been up to? Fucking since Hobbit ended. I haven't seen him in anything. But yeah, that is so John Bernthal, I think it's interesting. Punisher and Spider-Man, I don't know what their relationship is like in the comics at all. I mean, I don't know if you know any better than me.
It's similar to him and Daredevil.
Okay.
Uh, Kind of his relationship to like the street hero guys who are kind of, I'd say, dealing with more underbelly villains, like just more scum of the earth kind of guys versus like evil geniuses, which Spider-Man often finds himself against.
Spider-Man is up
Um,
against like a lot of like, yeah, see, type bad guys
yeah,
and like
yeah, like
and Punisher's like killing like gang rapists and stuff. Like there's like that's what my understanding of the two characters.
yeah, like I would say Spider-Man's like the like new employee, like the fresh-faced intern, and then these like Punisher and Daredevil are like the guys who are like 42 years old, hate their
Yeah.
wives, and like are just bitching all day.
Yeah.
It's so it's a good relationship, is what I'm saying. I'm excited for Brand New Day. Who
Yeah.
it is? It's Schreier's gonna Schreier is doing it,
Yeah.
or no, Dustin Destin Daniel Cretton.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, duh, duh.
yeah,
Who,
the
by the
Shang.
way, again, we talk about it all the time, did fantastic work in Shang-Chi.
So yeah, that should, now that I think about it, I mean, he did great, some of the best, I'd argue, hand-to-hand stuff that would work very well with Punisher, Daredevil, anybody street level would work very well in his directorial style. Just hopefully that third act comes together better than Shang-Chi, but yeah, no, I'm excited. When do they should be filming soon, right? It's
They
supposed to come out
should.
like next year.
Sadie Sink also going to be playing what's her name in that, right? Not Gwen Stacy. Is it Gwen Stacy? I think.
Have they confirmed who she's playing?
I mean, who else would she be playing? Or no, I guess Mary Jane is the redhead typically, and obviously in
Tip
the
tip yeah, they still haven't really committed one way or the other on the whole
she's
Zendaya thing.
she's rumored to be playing Jean Grey. No fucking chance. No, there's no
What?
fucking chance. She'll be
She's too
playing
young.
Hope Summers. Who's Hope Summers?
Well, that could be related to Scott Summers,
Oh,
maybe.
like she's laser
Who
eyes? Well, that would make her the daughter of Jean Grey then, right?
that would,
Interesting.
I
Hmm.
guess, if you wanted to go that direction, because they did.
Oh,
Yeah, Jean Grey and Scott were a thing.
by the way, something we didn't maybe even mention on this, like the Hulk involvement potentially in this, I think is also good because the Mark Ruffalo Hulk, while he does not really work on his own, at all is typically not a terrible value add to as
No.
like a side piece of an equation here. You know what I mean? So like I like that a lot for this as well. As long as he's like very, you limit the amount you get of him.
Yeah, especially if we can just get like 10 minutes of Hulk raging out. It feels like so long since we got that.
Yeah, exactly. Or
I
just
mean,
him beating up anyone.
yeah, it's been since Ragnarok since we got to see him do anything.
You know what's kind of strange is the last like 5 or 6 fights we've seen Hulk be in, he's lost.
Oh yeah.
He and
They
like, if you want to consider Red Hulk got beat up by an unpowered superhero. Hulk in Love and Thunder gets his ass beat by Thor. Hulk
hmm
and then also gets beat up by Hela and Suitor as well. The big guy that blows up or Asgard. He gets beat up in by Thanos. He gets beat up. Dude, what the fuck? The Hulk is
Dude,
getting his ass beat
nonstop.
like literally all the time. It's crazy. They nerfed Hulk. That's crazy. And also kind of gets beat by She-Hulk a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, the MCU, I don't know what their thing with. I mean, obviously they didn't have the rights to make a solo movie for the longest time, which I think they do now, even though I'm not sure how clear people I'm not sure that the information is technically out there on whether or not they can, but I
Yeah.
do think they have those rights now. But still, like to just completely nerf the character because you can't make a solo movie for him felt stupid,
But
short-sighted.
but you know
I
what's
don't
weird
know
though is
the
they gave him one of the coolest beat up scenes when he beats the shit out of Loki. That's like one
yeah,
of the
that's what I mean.
all-time great MCU beatdowns. So I don't know. Mindhunter, by the way, can return in the form of a few movies. Holt McCallany was saying in an interview that he's speaking to or talked to Fincher about it, potentially coming back and doing movies. I mean, potentially this could work in a twofold way because he has a contract right with Netflix to make movies. So if this can
Mhm.
fulfill that movie contract and also give us the more Mindhunter, that's great. Mindhunter is one of the best series that Netflix ever put out. That's great. Want to make more of that? Amazing. And I think it's not like this wouldn't work in movie format. We've seen it work in movie format a million times. He's literally Fincher has done it with like Zodiac. You know what I mean? Like he's made this
And
exact
Seven.
thing work. And Seven, he's made it already work multiple times. So if they want to do that, totally down. Groff in the meantime will continue making 8 million Tony wins and on the theater. And Holt McGowan, just doing nice little side piece acting in Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
Yeah. No. This would interest me. A Mindhunter movie. This might sound crazy to you, but a Mindhunter movie is way more interesting to me from David Fincher than the Cliff Booth spinoff thing. Because it's like Mindhunter is David Fincher's thing. Like that was from his brain, from the ground up, something he built with actors. I mean, he loves Holt McCallany. He worked with him a few times now, and Jonathan Groff, who I think just should be a bigger movie star. So that is way more interesting than going back to Tarantino's Scraps.
Agreed.
And I would honestly love to see something like that in theaters. Like I think that would work on the big screen. I mean,
Me too.
obviously.
As long as it's not
Um,
one of the what theater was doing that where they were just streaming Netflix as part of
the Paris Theater,
yeah,
yeah,
that's tough.
which is a Netflix owned theater.
Rough.
Why would you not have the files? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would be down for this for sure. Like this is a lot more interesting than some of the stuff he's been, attached to.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Which I watched a David Fincher potential prequel movie last night, World War Z. Remember when he was supposed to do the sequel?
Yeah. That movie, again, the book is fascinating. One of the best
Mhm.
reads I can remember having, as far as like at that time, like zombie hype when the book came out, it was like before that, but like the zombie like nexus like moment for culturally like was at its peak. And like reading that, I was like, holy shit, how is this not a movie? Because it's so fascinating, like the sort of look that they take at like geopolitics and stuff and how that would be affected. And this movie just hasn't the movie having less than nothing to do with the book. It was still so crazy to me. Like it's fucking crazy how they did that. It's like if you
It's
make
like
like a fucking Game of Thrones adaptation and it's just about like medieval France. Like it just makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense. Like I
it
don't know.
felt like it feels like a Roland Emmerich like disaster movie more than
Yeah,
like a zombie movie. Like it's kind of just so blah and boring.
dude,
It's a waste of a massive budget and Brad Pitt. I'll say that much.
it's fucking crazy. I have no idea how that got greenlit, how the approval process worked. I'm curious what the author of the book had to say about it. I would assume didn't love it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would guess.
on the other side, he probably got paid a fuck ton of money, and it's not like there's like a limit to how many more movies they can make on that IP. So maybe some other studio, because probably I'm assuming it was Plan B that did that. Maybe they can sell
Yep.
the rights to someone else and they can make an actual adaptation. Although I think it would be better actually as a series because it's kind of like an anthology, the book. Like they goes from like spot to spot across the globe and how they react to the zombie outbreak, which is kind of sick.
They only went to like two places. They
They went
went
to Israel, which they did talk
they
about
went to
in the
it. They went to it. I did not remember that. And I was like, holy shit, they're really in Israel.
yeah.
Like,
They went to Israel, which was a big part of the book, and I think they went to Korea for 2 seconds, right? And then to England, I think, right? I don't know. Not great. And England is cool in the book because in the book they like all the English people like it's kind of like reminiscent a little bit of 28 Years Later, which we'll talk about again. They retreat all the English people like retreat to castles, like all the abandoned
mhm.
ruins of castles, and they start like rebuilding them as defenses
Oh,
against zombies. It's really fucking cool. Like really sick. Um,
hmm.
yeah, it's telling great read. Uh,
Maybe, I mean, we got two more 28 blank later movies. I guess the next two are 28 years later also, but
Bone Temple.
listen, we could still see that.
They
I could
killed like two castles.
definitely I could definitely see that being something Garland, Boyle, and DaCosta do.
Yeah. Uh, speaking of 28 Years Later, Denis Villeneuve and Edward Berger, Edgar Wright, Jonathan Nolan, Paul King, all pitching to be the next James Bond director. Tell you what, I would love at least three of these guys. I would, I would love a Villeneuve Bond would be insane. I think a Berger Bond
Yeah,
would be great. Jonathan Nolan would also be a fantastic Bond director. Paul
really.
King, all due respect, not the first name that I'm thinking of for Bond.
No.
And Edgar Wright, I think, would be extremely cool to have in a spy movie. Like if you were to do like maybe a Kingsman, like an
Hmm.
Edgar Wright Kingsman sequel, spinoff, whatever would be awesome. Not the guy I'm thinking of first for Bond either, necessarily.
See, from that list, and this is not like who I think is the best director out of all these. But Edgar Wright would be my first pick.
Really?
I think the Bond direction, and I mean, this is just my
So it
personal
depends, right?
preference.
And I think you're probably. I think I have an idea of where you're going with this. Is you're
Yeah,
thinking you
I
want to go back to the
I
fun
think
type of 90s-ish Bond?
you don't, yeah, and maybe not go full, back to full 90s, like campiness, which I think would be the Paul King choice. Like if you want to do that, like go with Paul King, he probably could pull something like that off. But I think Edgar Wright would find a happy medium between, the darker, grittier tone that the Daniel Craig series took on versus, the Brosnans, the old stuff that's campier and fun. And then Villeneuve, I think, would be a continuation and I think an elevation of like what the Craig Bonds were really going for, which is just cold, calculated spy thriller stuff. I think he would knock that out of the park.
I think that might not be bad. Can you imagine like a Edgar
Burger is
Wright?
interesting too. Burger is
Yes.
very interesting as someone who has maybe not, it's not like he's my favorite new director in these past couple years, but
Fit-wise.
the adaptation of two wildly different novels and like kind of from what I've heard are brilliant adaptations. I think that's very interesting considering like from people who have read the Ian Fleming books, they say that they've really never been adapted correctly. The characters never truly been adapted correctly, and I think Berger doing it would give us that. So that'd be interesting too.
What about an Edgar Wright written, but one of these other guys directed movies?
Okay.
Because I
Okay.
think that his dialogue is something like he's probably the strongest writing choice for dialogue out of all of these, I would say. Like, the old school James Bond, like sort of like jokes, puns, all that bullshit. I think he'd be perfect for that and like weaving a little bit of comedy into it, where
Mhm.
it's necessary out of all these guys. But I think the other guy's direction might look more Bondish.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe just a thought, not
These are
necessarily.
good picks. I will say I like that they're different. They all have like very different things they bring to the table, and the idea of them being able to choose from those choices, it excites me. Now, will they make the right choice?
Definitely not.
We do have to keep in mind that this is not the Bond franchise of old, and will be the new broccoli list. No broccoli.
Yeah,
Uh, moving forward, all
Amazon.
Amazon. Bezos making the making the calling the shots. Also, how do you feel about Aaron Pierre, who's now tabbed as the favorite?
I will say I would like to see more body of work first before I would greenlit like a like and
Same.
sign up on Bond. Or like he was
Hmm.
obviously Rebel Ridge again. We couldn't praise him enough in that he was so fucking cool and good in that. But I
Yeah.
think I would like to see more body of work before I would sign off on him as Bond versus some other more I would say experienced actors. Uh,
Yeah. I'm with you.
yeah,
Also, the idea of him being a superhero at the same time as Bond
not yeah.
makes things kind of sticky.
Gets a little
Uh,
bit messier for sure. But
yeah.
again, all great choices, and we're all for Bond being good. It's one of the most top flight franchises in the world or in cinema. And we get, but it's what's also kind of weird to say about it is there are way more bad Bond movies than there are good ones, like by a pretty
Oh
huge,
yeah.
humongous margin. Just something to keep in mind with Bond. And then lastly, we got a new trailer for Weapons. This one, I believe, was in theaters. I think I saw this one ahead of 28 years. But Weapons is the new Zach Cregger movie from obviously directed Barbarian. It was incredible. From fucking Whitest Kids You Know to Barbarian, one of the insane leaps ever. And to be such a good horror movie is crazy. And this trailer looks awesome in a bunch of different ways. I mean, it's not like you're getting a ton of crazy new footage comparatively to the last ones you've gotten, but I am so like irrationally excited to watch this because it looks like just such a cool and interesting thriller. And I feel like I mentioned every time we've talked about weapons so far, kids are creepy as fuck. Kids are so scary, and this looks like it's making really good use of kids and just how that you can really max out the creepiness level every time you add kid actors into something.
Yeah, no, I love how even we're this is the second trailer and they've given us multiple teasers now. I still don't know what the fuck this movie's about.
Which is great.
Not a fucking clue. I get the general vibe. Like you said, the kids creepy, a lot of panic. Josh Brolin and Julia Garner look like they're acting their asses off. That's all I need. I'm sold. Fuck yeah, great marketing campaign. All the fun stuff they're doing online, also fantastic. I'm sold on this movie. I'm very excited for this kind of horror to be in theaters. I know when the script went out after Barbarian, there was a bit of a bidding war over this. Like there was a massive, massive bidding war over this. So I want to see what the fuck it's about now. Zach Cregger, show me what you got.
Hmm.
There's a lot of hype behind this. I mean, like this is crazy that Zach Cregger is becoming a name after one movie that really didn't even bring down the house at the box office. Like it found its life on streaming. Like that is it's interesting. Just new.
And didn't Jordan Peele, I think, like fired somebody because they lost out the bidding war on this, right? Am
Hmm.
I right? For like those
Yep.
productions lost out on it.
Or was that Sinners?
Let
Was
me
it
double check.
Sinners or Weapons?
I think it was over weapons. Yeah, over weapons.
Yep. So,
That's fucking
I mean,
crazy. It's sold the weapon movie sold for 38 million.
I remember the first time they described it, they're like, it's Magnolia, it's a Magnolia-esque horror. And I was like, what the
What the
fuck does
fuck could
that
that
mean?
even mean, man? That's crazy. But very excited for this. And I think like horror is having a pretty fucking good year right now, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. There's a real recalibration going on where the 2010s like high art horror has been toned back and like integrated into the blockbuster horror franchises.
Entertainment
And
horror, yeah.
yeah, and they're like meeting in a nice, it's like melting into a nice little stew. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, it was like it was such a weird like maybe like waterfronting and stuff. I don't know, but like it was there was like such a weird split when we have to like I mentioned this a lot, especially early in the pod. Like that 2010s era was like you had like that 1% of horror, which was incredible, and then everything else
Mhm,
was just like zero effort slop. Like
mhm.
garbage meant to just rip money off teenagers that were going to the movie theater, and that was it. And now I think we're getting like legitimate effort, good storylines, great like all of the technicals behind them are amazing. So I mean, all this shit
Mhm.
is amazing.
Yeah. We're about to talk about one, which I
We are.
think is like the shining example.
But before we get to that, just a couple things if you've been watching anything either. I've been catching up on Lazarus. Lazarus, just the coolest shit. So fucking, it's the coolest.
Yeah.
Like, I've goddamn man, Watanabe just he's got the gift of making something look so effortlessly cool. And the visually looks great. Action's cool, storyline's cool. Been loving that. I don't know if you've caught up on it yet.
I haven't. I'm gonna binge through it one
Hmm.
like just one day, which I like doing. I think I've talked about that before. Is with anime, I really like to be able to sit and binge.
Yeah. Deep Cover I saw, which was a Amazon or Prime Video movie about improv actors turning into deep cover. It was basically this plot of Hitman, more or less.
Okay.
Except it was what's her name? Uh, it was Orlando Bloom, the manager, the bad manager from Ted Lasso, and Bryce Dallas Howard were the three main actors in it. And I think Sean Bean was also there for a little bit. It wasn't good. It was a
No,
comedy. It was a comedy about
I haven't heard
actors.
of this.
Oh, it's on Prime. It's released, I think, like last week on Prime. Yeah, not great. I wouldn't recommend it. But not bad. As far as
I
like streaming movies go, not the worst.
I did watch. I was pretty busy this week with the dozen and stuff, but I did on one of my flights. I guess both my flights catch up on Stick on Apple TV, which we brought
Yes.
up earlier. Really, really like it. Like it's not like the best show ever made, but again, Apple TV just churning out quality content. Looks good. I mean, very funny. Also has just like has the right amount of emotional beats to, keep me invested. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Give me more. It's also like I'm not a big golf guy at all, and I like the way they use the golf in the show. Like it's never bogged down by the golf,
Yeah,
which
bingo.
I
That
think
was
I was worried about that going in. I was like, if they're gonna be doing like talking like shop the whole time and like really inside golf kind of humor, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with this or enjoy it. But they just have just enough, kind of like Happy Gilmore, just enough.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Like that was a big worry for me too, because I'm definitely not a huge golf guy at all. And like not just like for a lack of trying, just like I just don't know enough. You know what I mean? I'm not making
Hmm.
of it. And I would say a good level of nomenclature, like you're saying inside baseball. And I think as far as like cast to role, like or cast to fit, like Owen Wilson is the perfect
Oh yeah.
cast for ex-golf pro. You cannot get much better than he is in that role.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the hair, the lanky body, like the stubble going, the kind of just defeated man in his 40s look. He's crushing it.
Mark
He's a
Maron
writer
too.
on it too, right? Yeah, Mark Maron, also pretty good. Like they're asking him to do some dramatic stuff, and he's kind of crushing it.
I think the biggest complaint I've seen about the show is like everyone just hating
That
on
girl,
Zero. Yeah.
yeah,
Everyone's hating on Zero. And I get the sort of thought process behind it, but I would say that I think that the idea of that character is for her to be this sort of like completely alien sort of thing to stick in them, just being like, I don't even know how to talk to you because you're this like
yes,
Generation Z, like brain broken, whatever thing. And I can't even talk to you without feeling like I'm doing something wrong. And I think that's the idea of the character is for you to feel like Stick does talking to her, to them. So that's I think the idea. So just to I throw that idea out there.
yeah. I think she's supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to not really like her. Like it's she's there to make fun of Gen Z, like the extreme Gen Z kids.
Yes,
Like that
that's I
is,
believe the thought process there.
yeah,
Um, I watched most of the episode. They dropped this Netflix series called The Waterfront, which actually stars Holt McCallany, who we just mentioned earlier with Mindhunter. Um, it also stars Melissa Benoist, or whatever her name is, Supergirl, who I don't think I've seen her.
really.
I don't think I've seen her in anything other than Supergirl.
No,
It's crazy. Uh, and a couple other people, no one I think huge. But it's basically you ever watch Bloodline
the one with Coach Taylor.
with Coach Taylor and
I
Ben
watched a
Mendo?
few episodes. My roommate in college was obsessed with that show.
Yeah, first season of Bloodline, by the way, incredible stuff. Second season, not good. But the it's kind of similar to that. It's like a fishery rich family in the South turns to drug smuggling to try and make ends meet. Cool little crime story. Kind of digging it. I gotta say, it's like it's not a great show by any stretch of the
Hmm.
imagination, but it's interesting enough. Kind of liked it.
There we
Just
go.
out there. And then
Have you watched either the Gen Z, not to loop it back to Gen Z talk. Have you watched any of the Gen Z comedies, either one of them that dropped like in the past month? The Overcompensating on Prime Video and then Adults on FX.
adults, I haven't. Every time I watch a trailer for that, I'm like, there's nothing I want. I think I could connect with less than this series.
Yep, I'm the same way. I just cannot do it. My girlfriend wanted to watch with me. I was just like, you go ahead. You do
Yeah.
this one, report back. She said adults is good, overcompensating sucks.
Mm,
Take that for what it's worth.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like one of those things where I'm like, that one's not for me, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
that's a-okay. Same thing of sometimes with like a kids shows or whatever. Murderbot, still digging.
Oh yeah.
Skarsgård, man, he's having fun, and I appreciate that in that series. And David Dalmaschian, what's the fuck of his name? Dastmalchian. That also feels
There it
wrong.
is.
That's right.
I think
Okay.
that was it.
But he's also pretty funny in it. I'm enjoying it. It's just too short. The episodes are like 23 minutes long, and like on an Apple
Oh,
TV
really?
series feels very strange because like the second the momentum starts getting going, like it's like, oh,
Mhm.
episode's over. It's like, oh, well, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was your standard like 43-minute episode
Mhm.
type series.
It's interesting. Interesting enough to me anyway. Anything else you've been watching?
Uh Not really. I watched a that docu-series on the fuck was the name of that submarine?
Oh, the Ocean Gate.
Yeah, I watched the Ocean Gate
Which one? There's
docu-series.
15 of them.
The one that just came, it was like one of those things where it was like on my Netflix For You page, and
Mm.
I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever. I just need something to throw on.
Yeah.
But outside of that, no, I've been ripping through. So I watched World War Z because I've been doing Brad Pitt's filmography. Did 12 Monkeys also.
Nice.
Very good. Not a very good looking back Brad Pitt performance, which is funny because like that's it won him a Golden Globe, got him an Academy Awards nomination. It is highly offensive, like
Yeah.
in the terms of like how you're gonna portray like somebody in a mental institution. But Bruce Willis, goddamn great, and Terry Gilliam, just again like comedy legends turning to. I mean, that's not straight horror, but it is a very horrific world that he's designed, and it's very fun.
The
Um,
the what do you call it? The 90s are kind of weird for Brad Pitt, where like the movies he's in are typically good, but his performance is usually the worst part of it. And then it flips
yep,
a little bit in the 2000s into 2010s, where like now his performing is pretty good, and the movies aren't
yep.
necessarily always great. Like fucking
Exactly.
him in Interview with the Vampire
Yeah, he did. He was getting eaten up by Tom Cruise and an
and a
eight-year-old Dakota
child,
Johnson.
a literal child, and like
Yeah.
fucking like Meet Joe Black or like God, what's the what river runs through it like.
Couldn't Thelma and Louise, but he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
But that's when he was more like the B actor level. When they tried to propel him to A level actor immediately, it was like he was
Yep.
got called up to the big leagues too early. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He had time to
Hmm.
develop his game. But yeah, shout out to Brad Pitt. Now I believe very solid actor versus that 90.
Yeah. Very, very good actor.
Okay, so that is what we've been watching lately. Now we can talk about 28 years later. A group of survivors of the rage virus live on a small island, Lindisfarne. When one of the group leaves the island on a mission to the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated have not only infected, wait, that have mutated not only the infected but other survivors. Danny Boyle back. He had not directed 28 weeks later. He did obviously direct 28 days later. Alex Garland back on the script as well. Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ray Fiennes, and Alfie Williams, the main cast. This is a movie we've been talking about for a while. I love 28 Days Later. It's like one of my favorite. I think as far as like the best zombie movies go, it's 1A or 1B. Like it's right there at the
Mhm.
top. It's so fucking good. And again, you can bitch and moan all you want about like, but they're not zombies. They're technically alive. They're zombies. They're zombies.
There's zombies.
There's straight up are zombies. Be looking forward to it quite a bit, and the reuniting of Garland and Boyle also fantastic. Like oh shit, this is gonna be good. Great cast coming in. Comer obviously like coming up towards the top of the world, and Aaron Taylor Johnson also I think getting kind of a bit of a revival going. Henry Fiennes, like legendary all timer. Um, and I think pretty much everything in this movie worked. Like the expectations I had for it were met. I would say maybe even exceeded because maybe partially because 28 Weeks Later was not very good, in my opinion. I did not enjoy 28 Weeks Later too much outside of the dad storyline. I think was
Hmm.
solid. Just like the stuff around it wasn't great. But yeah, so I would say this movie met all the expectations I had for it, maybe even exceeded a little bit. I loved so many different things about it. We'll get more deep into it later. But for me, I believe I have 28 days in like the mid 90s. I would have this like a little bit below that, probably like high 80s, maybe even a 90 out of 100.
Hmm.
I enjoyed it quite a bit and would recommend it to anybody. Action, horror, just cool story, good movies,
Yep.
person out there that you want to go to a movie theater and see something, this is one to go watch.
Yeah, I think we talked about it earlier. This is like the shining example of a modern blockbuster where it's able to integrate in like really cool. I mean, bold visual styles. I mean, there are some very bold things, yeah, and huge dongs,
Huge cocks.
huge ones. Very bold visual styles, like the way they shot it. I mean, I think it's very publicly been, marketed now that it was shot on an iPhone, but like moving past just the shot on an iPhone, like ness of it, it looks crazy at points. Like they're doing such cool things with the editing and the infrared and different camera lenses and just looks so cool. And so it's a movie that you can enjoy on its surface just for the entertainment value. And then it's just thematically so fucking heavy. I mean, if you know anything about Britain from the past 20 years, Danny Boyle is stuffing a lot of his complaints about like where they're at right now into this movie. And so if you dig even a little bit past the surface, there's a very heavy movie in here. So I think it's just fantastic. I think there's a few moments in here that really just do not work for me, but I'm able to respect because, like I said, just bold, daring filmmaking is something I really want in these big blockbusters, and that's what we get. So yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone, especially if you like 28 Days Later, but didn't like 28 Weeks Later. This movie pretends like 28 Weeks Later just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
you can prepare yourself for that. So yeah, no, great movie. I've loved talking about it with all the people I've talked about it with so far too. Like a very fun movie to talk about because there's so many moments, so much like I said, so many bold decisions in the movie that are fun to talk about.
Yeah, I think we could talk about kind of like the pros and cons of stuff we didn't like, starting with the pros. I think you touched on a little bit. The camera work, I think, in this movie was awesome. So cool. The like you were saying,
Yeah.
infrared camera, like the Hunter camera, where the footage that you would get like spliced in, where you'd have like the red eyes of the infected, was horrifying, man. That was so cool. I loved that, and like especially when you see like because they cast all of the infected really well. They all had the same sort of build where they were like, well, not all of them the same build, but like most of the regular standard infected have like a super lanky, skinny look, which is so creepy, like sort
Yep.
of human but not human, which I really loved. I liked, and there's this one thing, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but like this sort of like pause orbit thing they did on the kill cams was
Hmm.
really cool. Like every time an arrow would hit something,
Yes.
like just like pause, orbit, and then continue the kill cam. I thought that was pretty cool. And then there's something I wonder if you picked up on this too. And we'll talk about spoilers, by the way, now too, because if you haven't watched it, some of the stuff we'll just be touching on, it's just a little bit spoiler. So I would say skip on from this point. The blurred lights shot in the Bone Temple, that was Garland for sure, in my opinion, because he did that same thing in Civil War. Like when they're doing like the in the Bone Temple, like after the mom stuff, when like they're like kind of
Hmm.
like doing the twist, and like you're seeing the lights,
Yes.
like I don't know what you call that effect, that lighting effect, but all the lights are twisting too. They kind of did that same shit in Civil War when they're going for
Yep.
the fireflies or whatever. But yeah, a lot of really cool camera work, which I really loved. Is there anything that stood out for you?
Yeah. Like you said, the way they did those kills was awesome, which is like kind of the earmark for Danny Boyle. He's another person I was going through the past week other than Brad Pitt. And like you see his sorry, style really come into play here with that editing, like the really kinetic style that kind of throws you off your feet. And the way they're able to capture those different angles. You see that rig that they built. If you haven't seen that, just look it up. Look up iPhone rig 28 years later. It's so cool the way they built it. Because you hear iPhone, like they're shooting it on an iPhone, and you kind of get a little worried that it's going to be gimmicky. And then you see how they used it for those shots. And it's like, oh, they actually used it in a way that you wouldn't have been able to do this with other cameras. Like this is very cool filmmaking. So yeah, I love that. I think that'll definitely throw like guy who sees two movies in theaters a year uh through a loop. It may not work for that person. Like, you come in expecting just a straight blockbuster that's shot normally, and then you get something a little different. I could see that bothering people, but for me, absolutely loved it. Like the all the shots of the causeway, the bridge that you could
Yeah.
only use twice a day. Every sequence on that bridge was incredible. From the first one, which is where they integrated that Boots poem, which I have a theory that they actually added that in after the trailer had been released and was such a hit. Does that make sense? Like, so the movie was finished,
I
they
don't think
made
that's
that
impossible at
trailer.
all. No, that wasn't like it was like
Yeah,
integrate, like you could easily integrate that into whatever footage you have.
yeah, and I think that's just awesome because they knew it was awesome too. But I love that first sequence, the sequence where they're running from the Berserker or the Alpha on the way back. Just thrilling, especially with that score blaring, which they had one band do it.
Which is awesome, by the way. The whole score was great, I thought.
Great score. Yeah, no,
It's
there's a
tough because they have a
lot to
really
love
good
in here.
theme, by the way. The 28 Days Later and Weeks Later theme is really, really good and iconic, and I think that's a
Hmm.
tough thing to live up to. And that band did a great job following up with that.
They did. And yeah, there's a lot to love here. The child performance also. Should we talk about that? Alfie Williams.
Um,
Always a huge risk to put a kid at the center of your movie, especially a horror movie. He fucking crushed it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Before the acting, just one only other camera shot I wanted to mention was another thing that I thought was cool. They added it in, or they, I think it was in the trailer too, like those bloaters or whatever the fuck they called them. Which, by the way, you
Hmm.
know you've reached true zombie movie status once you get bloaters. Like you just
Oh
need
yeah.
a bloater in whatever video game movie you have. Like the over the shoulder back shot as it's like lumbering up was so fucking cool. And I think something
Yes.
he loves too, and I love how this kind of like integrates back to the 28 Days Later thing. The sort of like I don't know if you would consider like a Dutch angle shot, but like from the bottom corner of a doorway as they come
Oh yeah.
bursting through, which is very
Hmm.
present in Weeks and Days. I love that. Like you kind of get that same feel and the same look of certain shots, even like running through the house, like
Yep.
looks so similar in so many ways to those other two movies, or more specifically, Days than Weeks. I think that was really cool to kind of get the old stuff while bringing the new. Like you were saying though, with the acting. I think everyone was great. I can't think of a performance in that was bad at all. I think that like you were mentioning, Alfred Williams, kid actor is always a huge risk. And I mean, they kind of lucked out. I think it was Imogen Poots was in Weeks, and she was really good. The movie again,
Hmm.
not particularly strong, but she was really good. And they lucked out here too. I mean, this kid was killer. Really good, expressive face, which is kind of rare for that age. And also, who this guy might get lost in the shuffle a little bit, but the Swiss actor, who's Edvin Writing, he gave great
Hmm.
comic relief in that little bit of screen time he got. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, what is his name? My
Edvin
girlfriend
Edvin Writing.
immediately she recognized him from some Norwegian show.
The Royals, I
But
believe, is the show, but his name is Edvin Writing.
yes, yeah, no, he was great. I loved that entire scene. I mean, he was only there for about 10, 15 minutes, but that whole interaction was like it was so fascinating. You learned so much about the world that, and that's really where the real retcon ends up happening is for 28 weeks later. They're like, oh no, the rest of the world's actually fine. We have fucking iPhones and like Instagram model girlfriends, and
That was very funny. What's wrong with their
my
face?
friend is an Amazon delivery driver. Like the rest of the world has moved on fine without Britain. And
Yeah.
that's where, if you dig in, it's like Danny Boyle's really criticizing Brexit. I mean, I think this is a huge Brexit allegory and like isolationism and nationalism, which I don't fully grasp as like an American, the Brexitness of it all. But as somebody living in a country right now where I think there's a growing sentiment of people wanting isolationism and wanting to separate our country away from the rest of the world, I was able to relate to that. And I was like, oh, this makes sense to me. So very, very bold to say things like that in a big $60 million blockbuster that's released in the middle of the summer. Like,
Trying to find out, by the way, because you mentioned like the retconning of 28 Weeks Later. I remember reading somewhere that they just nuked Paris. You're like, all right, problem solved. But I can't find anything totally confirming that. Garland just confirmed it in an AMA that Paris was nuked in canon.
okay,
Sick. Fucking cool.
off camera nuke of
Yeah,
Paris, not even.
they couldn't even announce it in Fortnite. In a 28 days later, 28 days later skin of the big hog alpha. That's another thing I think we can mention too. Just the production value wise, I think all the practical sets they got were sick. Like obviously using like the village and
Mhm.
like all awesome, all that. The causeway, like you said, very cool. The Bone Temple. I mean, the Bone Temple is one of
Right.
the creepiest and coolest things you're gonna see in a horror movie. So fucking cool. Really well put together. And the zombies, which are typically, I would say 28 weeks later, 28 days later, zombies are among the scariest in all the genre. Were
Mhm.
awesome. And I've loved adding in new lore. I love adding in like this new lore of the zombies, adding like the bloaters, whatever, but the alphas are sick. Like when there's like, yeah, they think it
Yep.
acts like a steroid or something and just turns them into these insane fucking tanks that just rip, like take arrows like it's nothing and have tremendous cocks for whatever reason. Uh,
Huge hogs.
huge
Huge.
hogs, tremendous hogs. And I love the alphas. I think the alphas are sick. The whole sequence, like you were saying, when it's chasing them down the causeway, amazing. The scene where they're in the subway car, very cool. And I love that their de facto move is like a Mortal Kombat finisher, ripping a guy's head out with its spine, Predator style. Like that's just so fucking so weirdly specific for like a brainless beast to want to do. Like, no, I'm only killing something if I can grab its head and rip it off. So I really enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, no, crazy. Which I don't know if you read this, but they had to. So thank God, all these cocks are prosthetic. They're not
Yes,
real. They cannot
child
hurt
labor
me.
laws.
Yeah, all the cocks and all the boobs, everything was prosthetics because of Alfie Williams and the other children on set. You could not have any nudity, of course. Which I didn't like think that through. I was like,
Yeah,
that's got to
duh.
be a prosthetic, please, please. And then finally got the confirmation afterwards, and I was like, oh yeah, no shit. Um, so that was great. And then yeah, like you mentioned, the Bone Temple, the final act. Ray Fiennes coming in. I don't know about you, but from the trailers, I thought Ray Fiennes was going to be a villain.
Me too. I thought so.
And then he comes in and gives something completely different, maybe a little crazy. He might be a crazy person,
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's a
but
crazy person
but
building a bone
it's
temple.
so emotional, and it's like Ray Fiennes is just he really is just one of the best to ever do it, one of the best we have right now, and he just comes off the bench in the fourth quarter and gives you like 20 points, like just brings the house down. And that tonal shift can't work without someone that good. Because, I
Mhm.
mean, you're shifting hard from, I think, what most people are expecting, which is just zombie thriller, zombie blockbuster, to, I mean, a very emotional send off
Mhm.
for Jodie Comer's character.
Yeah, like a very heavy, like sort of commentary on grief and things like that, which
Hmm.
is it's the very heavy subject matter. And when you try to read it on paper, like that is ridiculous, right? We're like, oh, he's gonna they're gonna put down the mom and then he's gonna like hold her skull and mount it on this thing and be like, see you later, mom. Like that sounds
Yep.
ridiculous, right? But it works, I think, in large part to the fact that Ray Fiennes' performance was so good. Anyone else in that role,
Hmm.
maybe that doesn't work, and you're like, what the fuck was that? But like it works in the context of this movie. Some of the things we could talk about things we didn't like about this movie. I think the one thing everyone's gonna be talking about is the ending is weird as fuck.
It
The
is.
weird as fuck. Like really fucking bizarro shift in from what the movie was up until that point, which like you mentioned, it transitions a little bit from like horror action to more of like a more serious drama. And then
Yep.
in the last 5 minutes is like I don't know what to explain what we're watching, like this pulpy, fucking goofy,
Yeah.
weird shit with Jack O'Connell's character, Jimmy. Very weird, but I am very willing to reserve judgment on that until we see the sequel. Because maybe it's just a big setup for whatever the vibe and tone or for the shit or the next movie, which is the Bone Temple, which they started filming right after this one wrapped, to whatever that is going to be. So with withholding judgment, but I will say in a vacuum, that was very weird.
It was. And thankfully, we don't have to withhold judgment on that for too long because it does come out in 6 months,
Correct.
which is awesome. Nita Costa, I think, shot it already. It's already finished. So that'll be out in January. Won't have to wait long. I did like in a vacuum, I really like that scene. Like it's fun. It calls back to the beginning. It's, pulling on nostalgia in a way that I think Danny Boyle wanted to, which we'll talk about T2 in a minute, which I rewatched this week and is like just a massive fuck you to nostalgia. And I think that's what this scene was too. But like you said, it comes at the end of the movie and the emotional beat had just, come all the way down. You're emotionally drained, and then it's like they put a post-credit scene at the end of the movie, is what it
Yeah,
really
I
felt
saw
like.
something similar to that too, and I think I would agree with that. Like that was like a mid-credit scene that just like didn't need to be
Which
there.
I think it works a lot better if they just wait a beat, give the like end of the movie like an end, like directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland, starring your main cast. Put that scene in there right there 30 seconds later, and then get into the rest of the cast and crew. But tagged onto the end is it's just a strange spot to put it. I do like the scene. Like I really think it's fun, it's cool. It's a completely different direction and it gets me excited for the next movie, but it's just such a hard turn at the end.
It's for like a different movie. Like
It's just prep for the next movie.
yeah, it's just very strange to, again to go from this guy. emotional farewell to his mom, saying goodbye to his home, his dad, this fucking baby, like all this
Hmm.
crazy, very heavy, dramatic stuff happening. And then you got guys doing like nunchucks and fucking
Just like Power Rangers, but they're wearing like Euro Trucks
tracksuit.
jumpsuits and
Yeah.
dressed like, I mean, I don't know if you've read up on Jimmy Savile,
Yeah.
the British guy, which I didn't know anything about him until after the movie, and people were like, "This is crazy that they referenced this guy." And then I looked into him. I'm like, "This is insane."
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, Jack O'Connell's character and the rest of them at the very end of the movie, they all have that long blonde hair and those jumpsuits, which is a direct reference to uh, this man named Jimmy Savile, who was on American or British television for 40 years, a big part of their pop culture. Basically, he was their P. Diddy. Came out that
Yep.
he was molesting
Massive
everyone,
pedophile.
old people, young people, boys, girls, anyone was getting it. And I mean, like, it was like legitimately like, I think 450 people. Um, and so to have that at the very end is, again, just nuts.
To have that plus the Power Rangers like parkour fight is
Hmm.
it was really weird. It's just really weird. And again, withhold I'm completely going to withhold my judgment until seeing the next one to see what the idea is with it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but that's the only thing I would note as far as that goes. I do feel like
The,
something else that kind of bothered me was I don't think that, and this is maybe it's just like I'm just jaded a little bit for them. Like, I don't feel like anybody was sufficiently freaked out by the stuff that they were seeing at points. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
maybe again, they're living in this world for, damn near 3 decades. They're just kind of jaded to it. But like a child not being phased by this walking around with a predator head
Hmm.
is just a little straight. Like he was like, he saw like a little bit of guts and he was like puking, but then he sees this guy get predatored and he's just like, all right, no big deal. Let's head on over to this temple and holds his mom's skull. No problem. Like that to me, I feel like people should have been a little bit more phased by some of the things that was going on.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, to be quite honest. Um,
Like imagine this guy's like, I'm gonna now kill your mom and hand you her skull. Like you would just be like, yeah, all right, let me go climb this temple and put it on top. I would be a little bit more like, no, please don't kill my mom and hand me her
I
skull.
see what you're saying. Yes. It did feel like he was not in a position where he was like fully ready to let go, and then all of a sudden he came to that, he was able to accept her passing very quickly,
Yeah.
and passing in a very specific and kind of horrific way.
Yeah.
Although touching, I will say.
The
Um,
that's that music, that whatever that track was awesome. Really good, very
yes.
emotional.
The one thing I would say bothered me the most was the baby. It's just one of
Maybe
those things that I get like the bold choice there, but like it's less that the baby was born and it was like the kumbaya like mother's moment
yeah.
ham-fisted in there that I was like, this just feels a little dated and strange and like disingenuous from Alex Garland.
Mhm.
The mother's holding hand,
There was a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
like mechanics of the rage virus that I feel like were a little bit ignored in this. Where like the biggest thing that they tell you in 28 days and 28 weeks later is like, hey, this blood is insanely infectious. Like, you remember
Hmm.
Brendan Gleeson in Days, he gets a drop in his eye and turns in 2 seconds. And like
Yep.
in same thing in fucking Weeks, the guy kisses his wife, turns in 2 seconds. Like, but this doctor is bathing in blood like on
Yep.
the daily. Like Ray Fiennes is literally covered in blood 24/7 and he's just never been infected. Like you're telling me he's never just had like a cut, like the slightest little like fucking like hangnail off his finger that like somehow like it's crazy to me how this guy is literally bathing in blood and never got infected. But whatever. Like that's one of those things like I'll suspend disbelief just because it looks cool enough. Rule of cool, right? Like Bone Temple.
Yep.
This guy's insane. Like I liked it enough where I didn't care. But the same thing with the baby thing. Like I think they explained it away by saying what like the placenta is just so strong
Placenta,
at
yeah.
during it.
He quickly is like, the placenta is such a magical thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that doesn't really explain it. That
Yeah.
doesn't explain it at all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, all in all, like I feel like these are nitpicks at the end, but all in all, like this is a really great movie. I want to see it again. I think I will see it again this weekend. We're doing pretty well this year, I think. I
Uh,
was worried there for the first few months, and I think we have found our footing. We are back on track.
yes, I would agree with that. So yeah, 28 years later, I think a movie that lived up to our hype for it. and could have easily been bad. In the same way that I know there's shooters out there for 28 weeks later. This is light years ahead of 28 weeks later, in my opinion, as was obviously Days. In my
Yeah.
ranking of it, I think I would have pretty clear Days, then years,
Yeah.
huge gap, weeks.
Huge. It, I mean, I may not even just address that movie within the franchise anymore. I mean, they wrote it off.
Yeah,
They really wrote that movie off in this one.
did not give a shit. Like in a Reddit AMA with Garland, that's how they write off the events
Yeah.
of weeks. That's how little they cared for what happened to that movie. Okay, so that's 28 years later. Now we can do our ranking. Let's see if I can share my screen. Ranking of the combined filmographies of Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, obviously longtime collaborators, so it'd be cool to do see how they compare, not compare against each other, but it's kind of weird too because Danny Boyle wrote some movies that, or rather, Alex Garland wrote some movies that we're going to give credit to Danny Boyle for here, but that's just the way it is. We'll be doing top 10. So we want to start with number 10 or we want to start with number 1? 10?
10. That
All right.
causes confusion and chaos as we inch towards the top.
Yeah. So let's start with you. Which one do you think is number 10?
Okay.
I can give you mine if you want.
I think I got it. I'm gonna go with Civil War.
See, I don't even have Civil
Um,
War ranked.
that's fair. I think if you'd asked me coming out of the theater for Civil War, right when I saw it, I don't know if I would have had it in this top 10. But on rewatch, I've come to accept it for what it is, which is just a very vibey movie with really not much to say. I really still just love the way it looks, love the soundtrack, really love the performances, even if like narratively doesn't fully work for me. And I think it is a bit bland for the premise.
Let me give you my number 10. I'm curious what do you think about it. I don't know if you may have seen it, may have not seen it. I only saw it because I remember my dad loved this movie for whatever reason. The Beach.
I have not seen The Beach.
So The Beach is pretty fucking good. Leo movie. Uh
Hmm.
I would understand if it's not everyone's cup of tea, but that would be mine. I Civil War is tough for me because there are so many good movies in this catalog, and I think the top like
Yeah.
8 are amazing. And I think like the
Yep.
gap between them and Civil War is pretty big. However, in your defense, the Jesse Plemons scene in Civil War is like better than any scene in some of these other movies that are on here. Like it's better than any scene you're gonna see in The Beach. Um, would you say that Civil War is better than 127 hours?
Yes. Absolutely.
I would say it's definitely better than Yesterday.
Yesterday's like at the bottom for me.
Yeah, I think
That's a movie that like I saw it like the first time I saw it, or I yeah, I've seen it twice now. First time I saw it, I was like, this is fine, a bit inoffensive.
mhm.
Saw it again. The more I think about it, I actually hate that movie. Like actively hate the movie.
What
Like
about
really,
what about T2 Train Spotting?
T2 Train Spotting, I actually have come way up on. I think it's kind of brilliant. Like really, really like that movie.
See, I have
Have it.
that. Those are both out. These are all outside of my top 10. And Trance
Okay.
2, which nobody's, I don't think anyone saw Trance. And then Men from Garland, I also have down low.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a concession on Civil War, which is
We each have one veto. Veto. I'll throw that
yeah.
out there. So you could veto here.
Here's the thing, like, do I want to spend a veto on this? Maybe because there's not, I don't know. It's not,
We'll probably agree on the top 8 movies. Like
yeah.
which like not maybe their place, but which ones they will be.
Yeah, but then like, what am I going to do? I'm going to veto this and force you to try to put the beach in here when you haven't seen the beach. That doesn't make much sense. So I'm fine. Civil War, more people saw Civil War than the beach. I'm fine with Civil War.
Okay.
Which, by the way, in the coded here, it's green is for Garland, and yellow is for Danny Boyle. Number 9 for me. I like this movie. I think more than most. I think it's cool. One a very underappreciated sci-fi movie, which I think you actually watched this last week.
Sunshine?
Sunshine.
I'm gonna veto.
You don't like Sunshine?
I'm gonna veto it because I want it higher.
Really higher.
Yeah, man, I really like that. Like I'm gonna own
Dude, it's
this
good,
movie.
right?
It's It's like shockingly good. Like it's like damn near masterpiece good.
Like I have
It's
no idea how that just didn't get the respect it deserved.
it is so phenomenal and just so inventive, and I loved the story it was telling and the themes it was exploring, and then just Cillian Murphy, fantastic. Like the cast is shockingly deep.
Dude, huge. Like Chris Evans is the eighth build guy on this.
Yeah, no, it really kind of blew me away. So I will veto this year because I kind of want it off the bottom.
Okay, if you want that
I
off the
have one
bottom.
veto, and I think we're gonna agree a lot once we get closer to the top.
Okay, so if you're gonna veto there, then I would say like
And
probably 28 years later.
I want Sunshine higher so people kind of maybe some people go out and watch it.
Then I would say 28 years later after this.
Okay, I'll agree with that one.
Yeah, I think 28 years later, again, like we were saying, very, very, very good. That I think this is more of a testament to how good the rest of the films are after this.
Yeah.
Plus, so 28 years later, but the gap between these two, I think, is reasonable, reasonably
Yes.
sized. But just to throw that out there. So your next one.
Ooh. Okay, we take 28 years later out. I don't see that anymore. Okay, we got 8 spots left. I've got 8 movies in here. So I will put T2 Train Spotting here. I want it on the list.
Oh man, here's the thing. I don't like T2, but like if I veto it here, then you're gonna what? Put it on a higher spot, and then it's even
No,
worse.
probably not.
You know what? I'll be.
No,
I
it
don't
wouldn't
like
have room.
T2's Train Spotting. There's better movies. There's way better movies coming up right now. Like I can't. If we get rid of that, then we're gonna lose spots for like serious bangers, and I can't do that for T2 Train Spotting. I can't.
Okay. I'll put Annihilation there then.
That's fine, man. I'm only like a couple spots higher than you on that.
Um, I need to rewatch it soon. But I really like that movie. Like horrific. I think the scariest one in this entire filmography. Horrifying movie at points. And then an ending that I think, again, like 28 years later, is very daring. And I see why so many people hate it, but it worked for me.
Like you're like even with the other with Sunshine, we're talking like another pretty all-star cast across the
Mhm.
board.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
interesting ideas. Like you want to talk about like how Civil War had nothing to say. This was definitely trying to say or explore things at least. Visually looks great, scary. The sound, the use of sound, and you'll see this a lot with Boyle and Garland too. They're so good with music and not
Hmm.
just score, but like the original soundtracks. They're really, really good with that and integrating that into movies. Like it very typically to me is like kind of almost a character in their in what they do, and you see it a lot. Annihilation. I mean, that was like a viral TikTok sound for like 3 years straight. That's how
Oh yeah.
not that that's like the should be the lasting impact of something, but I mean that is kind of like a testament to how uh
Yeah, no, for sure.
universally adaptable it is. So I would say Annihilation is a good pick here. Next up, I'd go Garland again, and I'd say Warfare. I think
Okay.
Warfare is a really fucking good movie, and you could argue that it doesn't have like a ton. And we are gonna say this, I think, a decent amount with like Garland stuff. It doesn't have like a lot to say, blah blah blah. But like, it is just like a 24 hours in hell like horror movie that is not trying to be something crazy and send you some crazy message and like be like, yeah, look at this big impact on wars, hell, blah blah. It's just like you're living what these guys are living for this 24 hours. Like you're just straight up in this mission, and it is scary. It is. And when all these fucking like TikTok girlies came out and be like, they're making pro-war, pro-Iraq war propaganda, they're making Iraq war propaganda, and it was just like the most clear. Like you watch that and you want to join the military, you're a moron type movie. It is. The performances are all good. I mean, Cosmo. This guy, this guy's a superstar. I fucking love Cosmo
Oh
Drive.
yeah.
Will Poulter and like all the other crew on this, all great. It's maybe like not the most like entertaining movie, like you were saying before with Garland. Like it's not one you want to. Like, I'm eager to go talk to everybody about it or anything like that. But I'm just like,
Hmm.
holy shit, that was a really good depiction of combat. Really liked it. So I'm happy with Warfare there.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'd put it right with Civil War, like 10A, 10B. I think they're kind of similar movies in a way, like we just mentioned. Very technically sound, but maybe narratively just not going too far.
And I would say that in my counter argument to this would be that Civil War was trying to say something. I don't think that Warfare was.
I
You
can
know what
see
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah.
Like there was a big attempt to make oh, this is a big commentary on blah blah blah, blah, and
And
like none of
journalism.
that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the case in Warfare. All right, you're up.
Okay. Where do I want to go here? So Annihilation off the board, Warfare off the board. Take that out of there. Ooh, this is where it gets fucking tough.
I think that there's a clear number six to me, and I'm curious how you feel about it because you did just try to take a related movie to it.
Oh, no, I'm actually between two. I think I'm gonna go with this one though. Back to Steve Jobs.
Yeah, great movie.
Great movie. Awesome Sorkin writing. I mean, just one of the great performances I think of the 21st century, to be honest. Like I think it is right up there for Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs. Like it is crazy the amount of heavy lifting he does in that movie. Like how much he has to do for that movie to work is fucking insane and he crushes it. Really awesome stuff. I think it's like the best case scenario for that biopic. Like they tried five of them. So, and this one's like by far the best.
Like
Like not even
huge,
close.
huge gap.
So yeah, I'll go Steve Jobs.
I think
Very
it's a
cool
great
movie.
pick. Like you were saying, Fassbender. I mean, he's unbelievable in that. And then just after that, just did a decade of garbage. Like it's a
Might be
decade.
Rogan's best work too. I think it
Uh
is.
like the
He's
studio, I
really,
think he's killing. But I mean, like as far as a dramatic movie role, yeah,
mhm. Yeah,
I agree with that. Uh,
not Kate Winslet's best.
no, no, I don't, she may
No.
not the best. Maybe there, I don't, maybe not enough for her to do in that. But I mean, Jobs is. I mean, Fassbender is unbelievable in that. So fucking good.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, here's the thing. We both want Sunshine in here.
Hmm.
I have right now four movies that need to be like in the top four that I think you're in the same thing. I think Sunshine should go now.
I'm fine with that.
I love Sunshine. It's a great movie. I can't put it much higher than this. Like, I mean, but again, we can talk about this. Like, it's as far as like effects go from something in that time period, looks fantastic. All the practical stuff is cool. All the stuff like the shots of space are cool. Cast all crushes top to bottom. You know that, by the way, I believe the guy who like the guy who dies when they do the space like propulsion sequence. I think
Yes.
that is the agent from Ballers. I don't know if you watch Ballers.
No, but I know who you're talking about. His name is,
Fuck, I forget.
this is like the only thing, like big thing he's been in. I was actually going through his filmography last night. I don't know if I saw Ballers in there though.
I think it's him, but double check for me. But in the meantime, like I mean, Benedict Wong, fucking, I believe Michelle Yeoh, right?
Hmm.
Uh,
Rose Byrne,
Rose Byrne, Mark Strong.
Hiroki Sanada, like,
Rookie Sonata, Killian Murphy. I mean, like the literally Killian Murphy's the last guy we're mentioning. This guy just won like an Oscar. The cast is unbelievable. They're all great. Like Chris Evans, great role for him. I want to
mhm.
talk about like, just to given a chance to do something with the role. Like he really got it there. I think he did a great job. Cool, really metaphysically scary at points. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like big picture scary, not in like a direct action scary way, but like I liked it a lot. Very cool ending too. Like how that
Hmm.
all like looped together. Like they kept saying like you'll know like it takes 7 minutes for the light to get back to you guys. So if you feel it, you know that it's worked. And like that, like just like that as that great score is hitting, like the
Hmm.
light popping up on like what was it his sister and his nephew or something. Like really,
Yep.
really good ending.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, just some great, like you said, emotional highs combined with like awesome sci-fi visuals that are very different, I think, from like what you typically get. Like I love the use. Danny Boyle is so good at using digital, which I've noticed. And this makes the most of that in the sci-fi space. Like the different screens, like it'll give you just the screen as the cinematic view. Like you're basically looking at a computer screen at points. And the way he does that, I really love that too.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, like I said, blown away by it. Sunshine, fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's right there with the next pick, which is an eight-time Academy Award winner, Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh,
Slumdog Millionaire is fantastic. It's one of those movies that wins eight Oscars and is like you're like, oh yeah, no, it kind of deserved all eight of them. Great stuff. Introduced us to Dev Patel. What can I say? Um, Awesome ending too. It's
Yes.
amazing.
And like every
Very
single
fun.
like I feel like it's attempted a lot of different things. Like you're saying like bold attempts at things. Like it attempted a lot of different uh like areas of genres to try and hit and it got all like entertainment value
Yeah.
of the movie is like A plus 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 plus. It's so good.
I mean, it's half Bollywood. Like
Yeah.
integrating Bollywood and like getting that to 8 Academy Award wins, like that's fucking insane. It's
Very
crazy.
difficult and insanely successful at it. Like it was and like you're saying introduced us to who is now an incredible actor in Dev Patel. So good.
Another child performance where it's like this movie does not work if the 16-year-old can't act, and he did a
Can
lot
act
more than act.
and sing.
He
Yeah.
was incredible.
And Jai Ho, all-time banger to me as far as like movie
Jai
songs go.
ho.
So fucking good. That's right up there. If you want to talk about the Bollywood movie Hall of Fame, you got I Not Too is so fucking good. Like it's Not Too
Yeah.
Jai Ho like 1A 1B to me. So Slumdog Millionaire. Now we have three movies left, and I think we all know what the three are going to be. It's just what order they're going to end up in, and I think that Train Spotting's got to go here. I think Train Spotting's got to go in the three spot, and then the other two need to be in some order in the top two. Train Spotting is an all-time like again to bring back to what you're saying about bold attempts at things. This is about as bold as it fucking gets. Just like a deep dive into a world which I think not a lot of people are accustomed to or comfortable with,
Mhm.
and also perfectly just cast. I mean, Ewan is. It's crazy watching some of the movies Ewan did after that, where you're like, how is this the same guy?
Yep.
Yeah, that was. Would you have had it higher?
No, I'm fine with it. These top three I think are fairly interchangeable, but Trainspotting is the young or the oldest and kind of like what introduced us to Danny Boyle.
Yeah.
So fucking good. Like an iconic soundtrack too. I mean, just unapologetically British. And usually that would make me hate a movie, but in this case, it makes me love it. It's like British in the best ways possible. And just unwaveringly depressing. Like
Oh,
very fucking sad
horrible.
movie on so like I mean, one of the better films about addiction you'll ever see, like real addiction.
I'd say like A1, like that's like number one, probably.
Yes.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, man, I'm just looking at the track list right now. It's fucking crazy. It's so good. I
it's
also
so
forgot
good.
Ewan Bremmer's name. Why did I forget that? But I always forget his name is Ewan Bremmer, one of the great Scottish
Yeah.
actors. I love just seeing his face show up because he's such a distinct profile, and
Yes.
it's great Scotsman right there. Man, it's so good. Fucking Pulp, Iggy
Oh,
Pop.
so God, I'm up. So I'm making this decision. Ooh,
This is a tough one.
what should go one?
I
Ooh,
think, I think, I
you
think
know
I know
what?
what number one is. Like, if you want to be like, what's that most technically better movie? There's a better answer, but like, what is the better movie? I think is a different answer. You know what I mean?
Yep. So I'll put one into your lap. Uh, Ex Machina is gonna go in it
Yeah.
too. Um, like you were saying, technically the best movie on this list, I think. Like it is so like it's just so atmospheric, gorgeously shot, brilliant performances, heavy themes. Um, but lacks the real emotional punch that I think the next movie we'll talk about has. But Ex Machina is Garland's best by far. I think is on just kind of another level compared to the rest of his work, which is good, but this hits like just a completely different gear. Love Ex Machina.
Like we were saying too, like integrating music into movies. Like the dance scene in this is
Mhm.
iconic. Like one of the cooler, more like I guess like iconic moments as far as like dances go in movies like Out of Nowhere.
Mhm.
Isaac crushes it. Fucking
Yep.
Vikander's so good. The effects are really good too, which is also like a big that could go the wrong way and kind of screw this something like this over when it's so effect heavy, at least for Vikander. And yeah, I mean, top to bottom, fantastic movie. I feel like it didn't get the respect it deserved when it came out, but since then, it's become a movie that people say it's underrated to the point that people are watching it and is no longer underrated is
Yeah.
the wrong word, like underappreciated, and now people are appreciating it way more.
Yeah. No. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant, brilliant.
And then the number one, baby, give me that zombie motherfucking 28 days, baby. I love 28 days later. It is when you go and rewatch it, and it is crazy going like leading up into this release of 28 years later, it just wasn't streaming anywhere. Like you couldn't even buy it. Like
Yeah.
it's insane. 28 Days Later, it's just like a revolutionary movie as far as I'd say the zombie genre goes.
Hmm.
Like clearing out all of London to get those shots of Cillian Murphy walking around in an empty, abandoned, major metropolitan city. Cillian himself was incredible. The whole cast, like Brendan Gleeson, like every time I watch that movie, I just forget Brendan Gleeson is just like a huge role in it, and like obviously later goes on to become a great actor. Christopher Eccleston, really good in it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Naomi Harris, right, is also really like the whole
Yes.
cast, top to bottom, crushes it. The look of it, I think is so it's like a good like time capsule into that era of like filmmaking, sort of. Beautiful, beautiful movie.
Yeah.
When you get out into like the countrysides and things and like out of the city, loved it. Scary as fuck. So scary the way these zombies move and operate and the way I think the way and then one of the scariest things about the franchise is how fast people turn. Like they go
Yep.
straight down, straight back up. Like it is just so scary. And I think it was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant movie. I would say to me, it's probably one A. It is one. I think it's the number one best zombie movie. Like there are a couple ones that are like in the sort of periphery of it. Like I think as far as like traditional zombie movies go, like Train to Busan is probably right up there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, fucking so good.
Not Zombieland 2.
Not Zombieland 2,
Um,
Double Tap, by the way, was the
Double Tap. I was trying to think of the subtitle. Yes, Double Tap. But yeah, like everything you were saying, 28 Days Later, just so revolutionary in the way it was. I mean, from the way it was shot, fast zombies, like never really had been done before. It's so cool, ages so well. Wish that it was had been more available to people. Prior to like 2 months ago, I think is when people could really rent it, like even
yeah,
just rent it.
crazy.
Um, it looks, yeah, like you just said, the digital aspect of it looks so interesting. Like, especially looking back 30 years later now, 25 years later. I've seen people like say like it looks so low quality, and it's like that's kind of the point. Like it adds to the experience of watching it, and that was intentional when they shot it. Yeah, no, I love it. I'm excited. This is a franchise that got rebooted and rebooted the way it did.
Yeah, and now we're getting more and more. We're supposed to be getting. If they said if this movie and Bone Temple do well, like they will absolutely greenlit a third. So Bone Temple should be coming out in a few months, and
Uh,
I don't see a world where it's not getting greenlit.
yeah, it did. I don't know if you saw the box. It did 60 million over the weekend. That was the budget. I mean, you got to obviously add in marketing, but that's plenty to guarantee the third, I think.
And horror always does well. Horror always, and it's
Yeah.
horror attached to a big IP and a big director. The cast will be interesting as far as like big names moving forward. I wonder how they do that. I mean, Jack O'Connell is now, I would say, on the huge upswing between this and
Yeah.
Sinners. So that'll definitely help into this next iteration or in the Bone Temple or whatever. So that'll be fascinating to see how that plays out. Uh,
Yeah. No, this is fun.
Yeah. So our official rankings, number 10, Civil War, number 9, 28 Years Later, number 8, Annihilation, number 7, Warfare, number 6, Steve Jobs, number 5, Sunshine, number 4, Slumdog Millionaire, number 3, Trainspotting, number 2, Ex Machina, and number 1, 28 Days Later. Some of the ones off the list, like I said, The Beach, I think is a good movie.
Hmm.
I'm not putting in the same sphere as like our top five. 127 hours. I also do like 127 hours.
Yeah, no, it has shooters.
hmm
Uh,
It's a solid movie. It's fascinating, and the fact that it's a real story makes it cooler. Yesterday, I think is bottom tier.
Terrible. You ever
Transit.
seen Shallow Grave? I watched that this week too. That was like his first movie. It was like a few years before Trainspotting, still with Chris Eccleston and
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor. Good, but like very much a first movie. If you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's a bit messy.
Trance I have down there too. And then Men, which I was so excited for Men. I was so pumped for that. I was like, this is such a cool cast. Like, what's her name? Who I believe was going to win an Oscar at some point soon.
Jesse
Not Andrew.
Buckley,
Yeah, Jesse Buckley. I always confused her with Andrea Riseborough. And that guy who just had his name, Rory, fuck,
McCann.
yeah. Ooh, I'm like, this is fascinating group of people and just did that movie did not play out, I think, the way
No.
hoped. But yeah, so that's some of the ones we left off. Nothing crazy. He also, I mean, Boyle's done TV too, and I think Garland is his sister.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's he's been doing a lot of bizarre things for the past ever since yesterday. I think he took a little hiatus.
Yeah,
Clearly for the best because he came back reinvigorated.
yeah. Kind of like not in this thing. I wouldn't say they're in the same total category, but he kind of reminds me of Soderbergh in a way, where like He's gonna go out there and try something fucking crazy, and if it works, great. It's gonna be great. If it doesn't work, it's really not gonna work. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like hit or miss in that way. But again, that was fun. I think I'm very excited to see Bone Temple.
the Bone Temple. It's got to be the temple from the movie, right? I was thinking that
What other
leaving,
Bone
right?
Temple could we be talking about? There can't be any more
There's,
Bone Temples.
I don't know. The Jimmies might be up to some shenanigans.
The Jimmy's
They might
baby.
have their own Bone Temple. Could be even
Yeah.
bigger.
If he has no way they're gonna have a bigger Bone Temple than Doctor. What was his name? Kepler or something? I forget.
Dr. Kepler, he'd been collecting those skulls.
Yeah, was it Kepler? Or I might be messing that up. But yeah, that very interesting for Bone Temple, and I believe Ray Fiennes is confirmed for that one too, which is
Hmm.
obviously good because he was fantastic. But yeah, that is the episode. We will talk to you guys next week, which we
Yeah, it's absolutely F1. F1
yeah
comes out this weekend.
yeah, and the reviews for that have been I would say like upper level good, like not like great by any means.
Yeah.
Like everyone's been like, oh, every racing sequence is crazy. Another Jodie Comer movie, if I remember correctly.
Yep. No, no, Kerry Condon.
Oh, sorry, Kerry Condon. They were on the same lanes. Let's be clear.
You think of yourself as this old school cowboy.
You
That's the
think of
new trailer.
yourself as this old school cowboy? That was kind of Scottish. That wasn't really Irish.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I'm a fan.
no, me too. Who isn't a fan of Kerry Condon? Bride Hard. How would I keep forgetting about Bride Hard? That already came out.
Oh, yeah. Skinny
Megan,
Rebel Wilson.
yeah, Megan 2.0.
Ah, fuck that.
That was good on its own. Ice Road Vengeance. Liam Neeson's doing another Ice Road. How do we miss that?
What?
When the fuck did? How did we miss that? We did
You should
every
do
movie
another.
coming up in the
You
year.
should do another press tour.
Holy shit! I forgot about that. Was what that was for when he did
That
that.
was definitely that one. Yes, because remember
Oh,
that was the one where I think he said that it's like he was driving around. I think in the snowplow. I think that's what it was.
you know what it reminds me of? Here's what I'll say. As bad as that was for Liam Neeson, that press tour and being like he wanted to walk around, what do you say, want to walk around, beat up a black person or something in Ireland.
Yep.
It did give us a very funny episode of Atlanta, which Liam Neeson guest starred in and at least leaned into it and was made fun of himself,
Yes.
which was very funny. But yeah, so F1 next week. Very excited for that again. Racing movie with fucking Kaczynski after how great he did at Top Gun Maverick. Sign me the fuck
Mm-hmm.
up. Very excited for that. But until then, we will see you guys next week.
Cowabunga.